Welcome to episode 18 of Overtime. Can you believe it? Episode 18 already?
18. Unbelievable.
Of
We've
Overtime.
made it, man.
Yeah.
I put up with you for 18 weeks. Are you kidding me?
I know. I feel like it's been much longer. No. But Overtime with Jared P. and Johnny O. And, we're excited about episode 18. And let's get started here. We're going to cover the NFL Power 5 like we do every week. And I still think there's a lot of questions. I think we have more questions, especially about one of your special teams, I do believe. And then as well as college football playoffs. And then some of the things that we've seen with some lopsided games and what some people are saying about that. All right, my Power 5. Looks like I was right. You questioned me why I didn't have the Buffalo Bills at number 1 last week.
Okay.
And one of the main reasons is because I don't trust them. And then Josh Allen, everyone MVP. And, if I had to put money on it, would he be the MVP? Probably. If I had to put money on it, he had a horrible game against one of the worst teams in the NFL, the Patriots. Had a $150 passing. He looked pedestrian, and they had to, they escaped by the skin of their teeth against one of the worst teams in the NFL this late in the season, with home field advantage, a possibility. If they lose that game, there's no chance. Still, it's an outside chance. I mean, the Chiefs have to lose out, and they have to win out. But Buffalo Bills have them at number 5, and I don't trust them. I don't trust them at all. I'm not saying they're not good. I'm not saying I actually like Josh Allen a lot. I'm not saying he's not the MVP, but let's wait. There's 2 or 3 games left for every team. There's 2 games left for every team. So let's see what happens these last 2 weeks. Because if he has 2 more games where he's passing for 150 yards, and he's playing only bottom feeders for the last 3 games. He just played the Patriots, and then I believe they played the Jets and the Patriots again. So I mean, 3 horrible teams. And so we'll see how he does. So he could definitely pad his stats, but not a believer in the Bills. I'm sorry.
Well,
real number
quick,
4.
let me interrupt for you 1 second here, just to give you a little update on Josh Allen. He hurt his elbow before the game. He was playing at 75%. That is why he was not passing the ball that much or that well.
Always an excuse for your players, huh? All right, at number 4, at number 4, the recently exposed Philadelphia Eagles.
Number 4.
Yes.
Exposed. Oh, my God. See,
the number 1 ranked defense in the NFL, to their credit. I love their defense. I really do.
Right.
It's very difficult to move the ball on them. Running and passing is a nightmare for most quarterbacks, unless your name is Jaden Daniels.
I'll clap for him. Absolutely.
All right. And you throw for 5 touchdowns. 5 as a rookie in a game that's for the Commanders. They need to keep winning to make sure they make the playoffs. They have not clinched. And look, I definitely, I'm sure you'll cover this, but Jalen Hurts getting hurt in the first quarter. But last I checked, Jalen Hurts does not play defense. He diced up that defense like a pro, like an all-pro quarterback, which he's looking like an all-pro quarterback. So the Eagles have been exposed, I think. But the only problem is for most teams, they don't have a Jaden Daniels quarterback, so they should be fine. But I have them at number 4. I think if Jalen Hurts is healthy for the playoffs, he had a concussion, I'm sure he'll be fine. Then I think that team's going to be very difficult to beat. But
it's killing me not to interrupt, but I'm going to let
you
go.
You can talk. It's a conversation. also, Washington had 5 turnovers, committed 5 turnovers, and still won the game. That should never happen. That should never happen against a team like the Eagles.
Making good points. When I get to my 5, I'll explain the real 5. I'll explain the situations. What's going on?
Okay, fair enough. All right, at number 3, I have. Oh, this is a tough one. The Kansas City Chiefs. I have the Kansas City Chiefs they're winning. The games aren't as close. They're not blowouts. They're winning by 7, 8 points, but the games are kind of in hand. I guess they beat the Browns by more than that, but and they beat a good team. They actually have a very difficult record for their last 3 games of the season, the Kansas City Chiefs. But man, 14-1, and their offense still hasn't clicked at all this year. And maybe it's not going to, and maybe that's the reason they won't win a Super Bowl. But Eli, are you having Power 5 top take real quick?
So wait, what's the conversation?
He just held up a sign and said, "Can I do my take?" And he doesn't know what we're talking about. We're doing our Power 5. I have Kansas City at number 3.
Like top 5 teams of the league.
Yeah.
In the league as of week
right now.
15.
Yeah. You want to think about it and come back?
Yeah.
All right. Think about it. Come back. Be ready. We'll do it after Johnny because he might learn something. We double team by the Pikes. Kansas City Chiefs. I love them. I love watching them. I believe in them. I think at playoff time, do I trust them more than any other team? Of course I do. But man, it's skin of their teeth for most of the season, except for the last 2 weeks. And then quietly, Pacheco's back. They're healthy on offense and defense. They're getting healthier, I should say. I don't know. We'll see. At number 2, and it's to me could go either way. I'm going to go with the Detroit Lions. The Lions are, I think odds-on favorite to make it to the Super Bowl for the NFC. However, they're not even guaranteed to win their division with 2 games left. They are in the hardest division in football, to their credit. I love everything about this team. I think what makes them different from a lot of teams that are high-scoring teams is they can run the ball, and they can run the ball with 2 different running backs until recently, with Montgomery being out for the season. I think that's going to hurt them. But they'll be fine with Gibson. But I do like the Lions a lot, but I have them at number 2. And all year, I just, for some reason, there's part of me that doesn't believe. But the team that you've been on all year that I've been late to the game on because of their quarterback is who I have now at number 1. I believe full-heartedly in the Minnesota Vikings as the best team in the NFL as we speak. Wow. I think Kevin O'Connell is going to be the coach of the year, I believe. They can still have the number 1 seed home field advantage, which would be a tremendous advantage in Minnesota with their insane fans. And Kevin O'Connell is putting Darnold in situations where he's not going to make mistakes, and Darnold has done very well. I think he started kind of, to me, as a game manager to someone who can actually win games for them if needed. He makes good decisions, and they have every weapon that you could want. They're under the radar. Have you ever seen a 13-2 team that no one talks about? No one talks about the.
That's been the team, I know, and they're sitting at 13-2. It's, and playing well every week.
Every week, they're solid. They're a team that they're going to be in every game they play, and so that going to the playoffs and being well balanced on offense is going to help them, much like the Lions. So my top 2 teams in the NFL are both in the NFC North. All right, we'll turn it over to you for your Power 5 or how you do sometimes 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different teams.
Now, real quick. And I've been behaving the last couple of weeks on that. I'm going to start going back.
You don't have to behave. You don't have to. You don't have to behave.
You're not. You don't drink, right?
No.
You don't drink alcohol?
No.
Okay. Well, that surprises me with your top 5. What about gummies? Are you on gummies?
No. This is all sober. This is sober reasoning. Maybe that's the problem. Hey, can you give me matter of fact, my producer, Eli, can you give me a Diet Dr. Pepper, please?
See,
I gotta listen to this. I need some energy.
That stuff will kill you right there. That might be I'm telling you. All right, my top 5. My Power 5. Okay. I guess we're the same on this one. And my number 5 is Buffalo. And I believe in Buffalo, and I'm going to stick with Buffalo. And they got the Jets and the Patriots coming up. I know they struggled a little bit with the Patriots on Sunday. But, and I was kind of wondering what was going on there too. But I got an inside source, and they were telling me that Josh Allen had something. He hit believe it or not, his funny bone. and he could not get rid of that, that pain you get that they say is funny, but it's not funny at all. And he was playing at about 75%. So I'm going to let that go. And that's why, but they still got the W. So you got to stick with them. So I got them at number 5. My number 4 team is your number 1 team. And I'm still a believer. The Minnesota Vikings are a fantastic football team. They're sitting at 13-2. They have Green Bay and Detroit coming up. It's going to, settle the whole, really, it's going to turn the NFL upside down on whatever happens with those games, if you think about it, because Minnesota could end up being the number 1 seed, but we'll see what happens. But their win over the Seahawks, good win, good solid win, even though
Seahawks are good. Seahawks
Geno
are tough
Smith.
out. Yeah.
I needed the Seahawks to win that game, and I would have won about $150, and because I took a little parlay going, and when Geno Smith threw that was what a stupid freaking interception he threw. It was horrible to end the game. But back to Minnesota, Sam Darnold, 246 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Have we been saying that every week? It seems like it.
It seems like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've been right about that. I've been skeptical the whole time, but we're 15 games in.
Justin Jefferson, 144 yards, 2 of those touchdowns. I mean, that's a 1-2 punch that is probably the best in the business. My number 3 team, Detroit Lions. All right, they got San Francisco this week, and then they got Minnesota. So their last 2 games, San Francisco really doesn't, believe it or not, with the mathematical thing and all that game could possibly mean nothing until Detroit plays Minnesota at the end of the year to see who gets the number 1 seed. But Detroit's my number 3. The win over the Bears, the Bears are struggling. But again, Jared Goff, 336 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. And, of course, their defense looked a little better against the Bears, but again, they're the Bears. But they lost Montgomery, for the season. Gibbs steps up, 109 yards, 1 touchdown. They still have that running game. It's who's next with those guys. Who's going to step up next? So Detroit is still very much right there. My number 2 team, my team, the Philadelphia Eagles. I am not worried at all. Stop with don't say they're overrated and all that. I mean, come on, man. I mean, they got beat by a good team, first of all. Washington's a very good team. They did cause, 5 turnovers. So the defense on part of the game looked really good. On the other part, they looked horrible. Okay, 5 touchdown passes by a rookie quarterback. That's a little concerning. But we did lose our main man at the beginning. We dominated the first quarter, obviously, 21-7. Jalen Hurts was running. Of course, he ran for like 42 yards on 3 carries until he got hurt. And of course, Saquon had 100 yards in the first quarter, I think. And then they just stopped playing. They just absolutely stopped playing. Yeah. But we have 3 losses, okay? 2 of them are because of last-minute dropped passes. Did you see when Devontae
I watched every second of that game,
Oh, my God. All he had to do was catch it, and it's over. And then, of course, Saquon dropped that one against the Falcons back in week 2 or whatever it was. So, so I'm not worried. They're still, to me, they're still right there and ready, Super Bowl ready. Super Bowl ready as long as Jalen comes back. And I think he's got a concussion, but I don't think it's real serious. I haven't seen anything anyway. My number 1 team is Kansas City. I'm done playing. They are 14-1, man. There's only 2 more weeks to go. They're 14-1. They have 1 loss. They play Pittsburgh and Denver to end the season. A pretty good win over the Texans. Houston's a nice team. So, Kansas City won pretty convincingly. Holmes had an okay game. He still really hasn't had that, that big, huge game, but he always has a game for them to win. And But the key that I saw in that game is he threw to 8 different receivers. So, I mean, that's a team. That is, to me right now, Kansas City has risen to number 1 because the last few weeks we've had, we kind of dropped them down because of the close wins and all that. They're still winning. They're still defending champions. They're my number 1 team in the NFL. So I got Kansas City, Philadelphia, Detroit, Minnesota, and Buffalo as my top 5.
Okay. So we had all the same 5, just in different order.
Yeah, a little different order.
Yeah. Yep. And I'm telling you, still a team that I would not want to play in the playoffs is Green Bay. I'm telling you, I do not want to see them. I would, if I was.
Yeah.
If we did number 6, that would be number 6 for me.
Well, let's have a little discussion about that. So real quick, before we get into the advertisers, what teams do you not want to play in the playoffs? Give me your top team that,
okay.
What is that team that's saying, oh my God, I don't want any part of that team that isn't a top of the line team?
Yeah. Like people aren't talking about for Super Bowl.
Right.
I would say Green Bay Packers in the NFC.
Yep.
I also wouldn't want to play Washington. Washington's defense, they said, this is the most improved defense. And their defense isn't great, but they're the most improved defense from last year because their defense was ranked at the bottom of every category. And they're getting better. And then they got Lattimore that's just joined them healthy the last couple of weeks. Actually, got hurt towards the end of the game. I was worried about that. And then Bobby Wagner, he's a Hall of Famer. They've got and of course they're led by Dan Quinn's the defensive guru of sorts. Also, those 2 teams, Washington, Green Bay, I would not want to see in the playoffs if I was a top tier team. On the AFC side, I think that one team that would scare me, or maybe 2 teams. And one, I mean, I guess it has to make it first, but the Chargers, I think Harbaugh makes you play ugly. He slows the game down, which is perfect for playoff football. And then I would not want to play Eli. I don't know what you're doing, but you got to stop.
What am I doing?
You're being weird, and it's very distracting. I love it. But the Chargers, and then I totally forgot my other team because he was dancing off to the side here. But yeah, so the Chargers, I definitely would not want to see in the AFC. Oh, and the Broncos. The Broncos, they're kind of like the Washington of the AFC, where I think they can play with anybody. And that's a team that I think obviously is well coached, and their rookie quarterback doesn't make mistakes, and have a solid defense. What about you?
Well, you stole my thunder, no doubt about it. As a Philadelphia Eagle fan in the NFC, I don't want any part of your Commanders. Okay, I mean that team is, even in the first game they played us tough too in Philadelphia. That team can make some noise. They really can on any given Sunday. So, and Green Bay, you hate to even put them on the lower end of the playoffs because if they win tonight, we're taping this on Monday night. If they win tonight, they'll go to what?
The 9 and
they'll be 11-4 if they win tonight.
11-4.
Yes.
I guess do they have a chance? I don't know about the tiebreakers. They have a chance. No, because they all play each other. If they win out, so they can't win because, somebody will end up with 3 losses.
But what a great team! You've been talking about them most of the season. That's a great team, but they're just in that tough division. So Washington and Green Bay in the NFC don't want to get near. Chargers, just like you said. I mean, I don't want to play that. I would not want if I'm Buffalo, Kansas City. You don't want to play against Jim Harbaugh in the playoffs with that defense. And if it's crappy weather, anything can happen in that with the Chargers. And I'm just not a Denver fan because of their coach. I'm not a big fan of their coach, but they're doing a heck of a job. Sean Payton. They're with their rookie quarterback Bo Nix, who a couple weeks ago I was saying, well, geez, look out for him. He might be rookie of the year. Now, Jaden locked it up yesterday, big time.
He sure did.
But if Denver makes it in, which it looks like they probably will, I wouldn't want to play Denver. So, I agree with you on all those. Those are just a couple teams that that can, when they're, wild card teams, all that kind of stuff. I cannot believe how important that top seed is. When you can sit out that first week, man, at the end of the season, and just watch all the other teams play. That's a huge advantage. So that scares me a little bit.
Yeah,
as a Philly fan.
And then home field advantage throughout. That's also. All right, let's thank our sponsors. We've had great sponsors since we started. We've had some along for the entire time, including 336 Realty for all your home buying needs. Love them. 336realty.com, buying and selling needs. Also, Surf Hippie Fishing. They've been with us since the beginning for all your fishing apparel, gear, fishing rod holders, the carts, fishing tournaments. And they've got really cool hats and shirts and all sorts of different things. SurfHippieFishing.com. Elite Performance Chiropractic, owned and operated by former NFL player Jeremy Phillips, former guest on the show. And they have 2 locations, Greensboro, Winston-Salem in North Carolina. Check them out for whether you're young or old, if you have any needs for a chiropractor, but they also do different type of therapies there as well, cutting edge stuff, which is really impressive. Johnny, who you got?
We got Imperial Marketing Solutions. Again, my buddy Jimmy Snow, who is a Commanders fan, and he was texting me all last night about the game. Congratulations, Jimmy. But anyway, he specializes in sales of reconditioned Dell, IBM, and HP products, laptops, computers. They're all reconditioned. They're like brand new. Give him a call at 315-345-8349. We got Salsaritas. They're located in High Point at the Palladium and in Greensboro in the Target Shopping Center. He's got the food truck out there, and definitely call him. Look him up on Google him and call for all your catering needs. He'll give you a deal on that. And one of our newer advertisers, Physical Therapy and Balance Centers. That's physical therapy. That's physical with an F, F-Y-Z-I-C-A-L. Specializes in innovative treatments of balance and orthopedic conditions has personalized physical therapy, fall prevention programs, and pain management. He's offering a free 15-minute balance screening right now to anyone, and you can call him at, his name is David Grantham. Call him at 336-500-8503. And then we got another one, a new one as well, Shank and Torrance Insurance, located in Greensboro, but they serve the entire Triad and state. Brian Torrance, he's been, I've had my car insurance and rental insurance and all kinds of good stuff through him for about 20 years. He specializes in personal insurance, including auto, homeowners, and life insurance. Call Brian at 336-310-1320 for all your insurance needs. And we got another one, man. Estate Jewelry Loan.
Oh, sorry, I talked over you, but Johnny is our sales guy and also broadcaster, and he's done a great job. But go ahead.
Estate Jewelry Loan. Brian DeMore, a good friend, owns that along with the Salsaritas. But if you have any jewelry, diamonds, watches, or coins, my good friend Brian will give you his trusted advice and personalized service, and he'll pay you top dollar for all the goods. Go to estatejewelryloan.com to find out what he's got, and he is also located right off of Battleground Ave, 2511 Battleground Ave. That's all we got.
All right, great. So, and we look forward to having them in the new year. And then if you want to be part of our show and sponsor the show, we have quite significant reach. We've been doing well. We appreciate that. Email Johnny, sportscarolina@gmail.com. All of our socials, you can hit us up. We'd love to have you. All right. So the college football playoffs, there's been some complaints about a lot, lots of blowouts. So maybe you can address that, Johnny, and then maybe we can both address that. I want you to do that first, and then go back to you for your predictions on the next round of the college football playoffs.
Still a big fan of the whole college playoffs. Again, I feel like it's March Madness here in December. All the home teams did win the games. Okay. I don't want to hear, well, geez, so-and-so should have been in because they didn't, Texas beat Clemson by 14 points. Clemson shouldn't have been in. Penn State beat SMU. SMU should have never been in. That's bull crap. I'm sorry, man. I know they got beat 38-10, but on a different Saturday, it might be different, on a different field at their home field, who knows? Ohio State over Tennessee really surprised me, 42-17. I mean, Ohio State blew Tennessee out. And there was no question about Tennessee getting into playoffs. And Notre Dame over Indiana, Indiana was always a questionable type pick. It ended up 27-17, which I was happy about because it didn't look like it was a complete blowout, but Notre Dame dominated the game. But again, they played in Notre Dame. So all the home teams won the games by a pretty good margin. I know that's why people are complaining, but, it happens. It happens at the beginning. Now, these next rounds are going to be great games.
I think you're right. Now, and I agree with you, and we'll get into your prediction, but I just want to say this. The playoffs, they're not going away. If anything, they might expand. And college football should have done this 30 years ago, 40 years ago. Yep. They're super late to it. I mean, I know people were counting the 4-team playoff, and that was a start, and that was at least something. Even the national championship game, I mean, before it was just the AP and writers, or, the writers would choose who won. The coaches polled. They sometimes have split national champions. But so many talking heads, Johnny, this is shocking to me. ESPN, Fox Sports, every digital outlet you can imagine, we're complaining about the blowouts and, is college football playoff in trouble? Do they not know anything about college football in the history of college football? Okay, I'm going to give you quickly 10 quick. That sounds like too many. No, you know what? I'm going to just give you 5 examples.
All right, give me 5.
Because 10 is too many. 5 examples of national championship games, and this is over the years, or games that even maybe before the playoffs that people consider for national champion. But these are all in basically the BCS era for the most part. Total blowouts, national championship game. This is before it got expanded to 12 teams. Obviously, it's the first year. Okay, at number 5, I'm going from lowest to biggest blowout. These are all blowouts. Number 2, Clemson beat number 1, Alabama in 2018, 44-16 in the national championship game.
Blowout.
There's 28 points, 44-16, and total domination. At number 4, in 1996, number 3, Florida beat number 1, Florida State, 52-20.
Wow.
It's a 32-point blowout. I remember watching that game. I was in high school. In 2004, number 3, number 1, USC blew out number 2, Oklahoma. And Oklahoma used to get blown out in every national championship game it seemed like they were in, or big bowl games for multiple years in a row. And they were a great program. 55-19, 36-point blowout. 1995, number 1, Nebraska blew out number 2, Florida. Anyone think Florida shouldn't have been there? 62-24.
Wow.
38-point blowout. And how? Points. Yeah, 62-24. And how short is our memory, and how bad are these talking heads when just in 2022, number TCU? 1 Georgia beat TCU by 58 points, 65-7.
65-7. And they're complaining
about. That's the national
championship
game.
Great point. And I mean, that's what I was saying. I mean, come on, man. I couldn't believe how they were all just, I can't believe what we should have had. South Carolina, should have had Alabama, should have had all these teams. 2020 hindsight. I mean, you kidding me? I mean, it's crazy talk. Absolutely. I know they got to chat and they got to do their little chirping, but it was just wrong. And you just proved it wrong, because those are blowouts.
100% blowouts. And look, we watched years ago when UNLV blew out Duke in the national championship game after going through a big 64 team at the time tournament by 31, the national, or I guess the semifinals, or no, the national championship. I mean, there's blowouts. Blowouts happen. There's blowouts and there's sweeps in the World Series. There's sweeps in the NFL or an NBA. There's blowouts in the Super Bowl. I mean, how many blowouts have there been in the Super Bowl? Tons.
Yeah.
And so it happens. And so in the opening round, you're shocked that the games aren't close. Yeah, you want to upset. This also isn't March Madness. There's not 68 teams. There's 12. And there's only a few opening round games. I don't know. I was just dumbfounded by how stupid so many talking heads in the sports media.
I'm glad you agree with me on that because it was pissing me off listening to them.
Yeah.
And these are all home games are a big deal in college football. I mean, come on, man. And knowing it for a couple weeks, I mean, those fans were ready for each and every one of those games. So yeah, I'm right with you on that. Great points. I love it. Now the second round
so who you got?
The second round is going to be good stuff. Texas plays Arizona State. Okay, Arizona State was picked last in the Big 12 at the beginning of the season. That's how much some of these writers know. I mean, give me a break.
Right.
But I don't know how to pick that one. I'm going to take Texas, but because I don't know anything about Arizona State. But man, they won the Big 12 championship, and here they sit waiting for Texas to come, and play them in the second round of the playoffs. But I'll take Texas on that. Penn State and Boise State. Boise State is the questionable team, and here they got one of the greatest running backs ever to run in NCAA history. I mean, that's going to be a heck of a game. Penn State's defense against Boise State. I'm going to go with the favorite. I mean, because I've been wanting Penn State all year long, but I'll take Penn State. But I think that's going to be a close game. I think Boise will hang right with Penn State in that game. Ohio State plays. Oh, here we are, man. Now here's a game. Ohio State plays Oregon, and they played like the second, third, or fourth week of the season. Remember, it was a 1-point game. Oregon beat Ohio State. That's going to be a classic because that's going to be a war, man. So, and Oregon is the number 1 ranked team in the nation. So, now we're talking a ball game. Ohio State and Oregon. If anyone complains about that one, they don't have a clue. Notre Dame and Georgia. Georgia lost their starting quarterback. He's not. Right. So they're on the second string quarterback. I'm not counting out Georgia, but boy, I kind of like the way Notre Dame is playing football. I know they got beat by Northern Illinois that first game of the year, but ever since then they've looked like a national championship team. I'm usually all Georgia, especially in playoff football. I'm taking Notre Dame over Georgia on that game.
All right. Did you say a winner for Oregon, Ohio State?
I did not. Not.
Okay. That's a tough one. That's a tough one.
You know what? I'm taking Ohio State.
Okay. All right.
I'm going to take
all right. I agree with you. These matchups, I think the committee didn't do some of these teams any favors by like Oregon. I mean, hey, you are the number 1 overall seed. You're undefeated for the year. And in the second game, you're playing Ohio State.
Yeah.
I mean, that's rough. I guess people didn't expect Ohio State to fall to be an 8 seed. But anyway, Texas, Arizona State, again, you're right. This is a tough one to select. I think for most people, they say, oh, Texas, obviously, the bigger brand, better weapons. Arizona State has been sneaky good all year, and they have some really good wins on their resume. With that being said, I will going to take Texas. Okay, Ohio State, Oregon, that's really tough. That's really tough because it's such a close game. It was, I believe, in Oregon, and the Rose Bowl will be West Coast. I mean, of course, Ohio State fans travel well, but I think Ohio State maybe has a little swag back after their embarrassing loss to Michigan. And beating a very good Tennessee team, blowing out a very good Tennessee team, and I think their coach Day, right? He's playing.
Ryan Day, yeah.
He's playing for his job. And was he the former coach at Oregon?
No.
No. Who am I thinking of? I don't know. I wish I could edit that part out.
No.
who was at Oregon and he left?
Oh no, that was then he went to the pros. He went to the Eagles. Chip Kelly.
Oh, okay.
Wasn't it? Yeah, Chip Kelly.
Okay, yeah, but I'm thinking, Oregon has a somewhat newer coach. So I can't remember who was before him. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Sorry, side note. But Ohio State, Oregon, this is a tough one. Oregon is undefeated on the year. They did have a close game with Ohio State. I'm going to go with Ohio State in a mild upset. They played each other before. They know what they need to fix. And I think also sometimes having a week off isn't always the best. You're a little bit rusty. Ohio State will be ready to play. Penn State, Boise State, no-brainer, Penn State. I would like to see Boise State win. I like their story. I just don't think they're big enough in the trenches to take on a team like Penn State and win. And then Notre Dame, Georgia, I give the nod to Notre Dame because of Georgia's backup quarterback, although he came in and he helped win them that game to even get him to this point in the SEC championship game. So, I mean, he definitely has some swag to him. But, yeah, I have Notre Dame. So then we'll have Notre Dame, in my opinion, Notre Dame versus Penn State, I think. And then we'll have Ohio State versus Texas. It'll be interesting to see what happens.
That's a nice Final Four. That's for sure. Yeah. Wow.
I'll take that. I mean, what I'd like to see is just like, some Arizona State, Boise State, some teams in that Final Four that people are like, ooh, we didn't see this happening. So,
and again, you never know, man. Boise State, if Penn State doesn't stop that Genty, which, I'm sure they're going to be keying on him, but Boise State, I don't know if you watched them at all. I don't know the name of the quarterback, but that quarterback can run and throw, and that kind of opens it up for that Genty. Penn State's going to have their hands full, but I think they'll prevail.
Yeah, and then Genty, because Travis Hunter makes, I'm not saying he didn't deserve the Heisman, but there's really a case that Genty should have won the Heisman Trophy. I don't know if he broke the all-time college record or he was right there with Barry Sanders. I mean, of all-time rushing yards or yards from scrimmage in the history of college football, and he didn't win the Heisman. That's very unusual. But I think he got dinged because he plays for Boise State.
He voiced his he was talking about it too, saying, I really thought I was going to win that thing.
And should have won. And it's rare when someone loses even though they all probably feel that way, to have him speak out, which I kind of like. I mean, I kind of like these. I should have won. Yeah.
Yeah, but don't take anything away from Travis Hunter because that dude is a football player, man.
He's a dog, man. He is a dog. All right. I think that's what we're going to cover for our I guess we can do an episode next week.
Yeah, we'll sneak one in. But, hey, first of all, let's wish everybody a Merry Christmas coming up. And I really want to thank the advertisers, man. They have kept us going here for 18 weeks. So Merry Christmas to all our advertisers. Please visit them. Go on their website, go on Facebook, check us out on Facebook, and we can guide you to where they're at. So,
yeah, they've been great. Christmas. Yeah, Merry Christmas to them. Merry Christmas to everyone that's been watching and listening and supporting us, and following us on social media and TikTok and Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. And we're going to have another one before the year's out. And then, the new year's got a lot of exciting things happening with, college football championships or playoffs continuing. We got the Super Bowl coming up in February and the NFL playoffs in January. College football or college basketball conference play gets in full steam ahead. I'll tell you why the Tar Heels, although 7-5, are better than you think, and why Syracuse no one cares about.
That's not talking about them, man.
No, we have a lot to talk about. NBA, getting to mid-season point, during that time frame. So January and February is going to be exciting for football and for sports as well. There's always something fun to talk about. All right. Merry Christmas to you, Johnny. You've done a great job.
Same to you, man. Have a good Christmas. And we'll talk to you later on.
All right, bro.